All right. What I am going to do right now is work on an army list. So let's see. All right. All right, I'm going to be working on, I think, my Space Marine list. It's all Primaris, and right now it's just standard Space Marines, so no special rules. All right, where is my book at? All right, let's do 1,000 points. I know for a fact I'm going with 2 intercessor squads. Yeah, definitely 2 intercessor squads. And they're going to be 10-man squads. For the HQ, my basic HQ. Oh, geez. Yeah, Primaris Captain. All right. So that is just the basic army right there. Really? I really want my book. Where is it? So that I can see what I need. Because I'm probably going to build a battalion. Well, no, battalion might be for 2,000, right? Move this. Let's see. That put it in my box set. There we go. There we go. Found my book. Let's see now. I know I want my intercessors. That's a granted. Go right back here. Hello, whoever's watching. So we're looking at 1,000 points. I really wish they would add just points instead of this power level thing. Not so hype on the power level thing. Let's go through my... No, not interested in that. Not interested in that. No, come on now. Just looking for the army chart. Come on. I'll pass it then, I guess. Oh, do I got it marked? I do have it marked. So let's see. So we're going to go with a battalion, which will cost me 3 command points, but because this is going to be all the same faction, I'll get those 3 command points back. So in order to be legal, I have to have 3 troops and 2 headquarters before I can worry about anything else. So troops aren't really the question with me. I have more than enough. So headquarters, I'm going to go with a Primaris chaplain. I'm a huge fan of chaplains. And for my 3rd troop, I will go with a 10-man squad of assault intercessors. So now I'm legal at that point, and I'll have the full command points to spend because I will not be adding any detachments or anything like that. When you build at the battalion, at least in my experience, you really don't need to add any. I guess if you wanted to add a Titan, you could go ahead and spend the command points for that. Like a Lord of War here, you could add for 3 command points, but I'm not going to do that. I am going to go to the elites. Let's see here. Need my box. I need my box. Blade Guard Veteran Squad. I definitely want to do that. I've never used them in game, but I definitely want to. All right, so we got some Blade Guard Veterans. They're only 5 power points or whatever that is. What else? For heavy support, I definitely know I want some Eradicators. Yeah. I want 2 of those. 2 Eradicator squads. They're going to have the Eradicator squads with the Melta rifles. See, I still got 45 points to spend on this. So I've got some decent anti-tank. Not great, but decent. I got some close combat guys going on here. I've got my normal troops. Now I could have another HQ unit, and I'm thinking I will. I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and throw a Primaris librarian in there. Just so I got the Trinity. I got my chaplain, librarian, my captain. Then down here, under transports, I have 2 repulsors that I want to use in a list. So that's 92. So this may not be a very optimized list at all, really, but let's see. What else can I do? What else can I do? For 8 points, I can get actually quite a bit for 8 points. I could do another Blade Guard Veteran Squad. I could do a Bike Squad. All right. Let's see. What we got for 8 points? Hellblasters. Hellblasters, a Predator. So yeah, go with a Predator for 8 points. Jeez. So there's 45 figures at 1,000 points. And no. Okay. So, well, Captain Chaplin. I mean, the power level thing, I mean, it doesn't take into account how these guys are all equipped. It doesn't take into account how these are equipped because they're equipped differently. One of them I built with the Las Talon in the turret and the twin las gun, and the other one I built with the double chain guns. And this one has I think these are the grenade launchers and the anti-aircraft stubber, whereas the the other one in my list, which I've actually base coated already, is Las Talon, twin las. It's got that chain gun, but it's got the missile launchers in the back and heavy bolters on the side. So I can't help but think that the points cost are different on these two things. But okay, whatever. I mean, I do have 4 impulsors too that I could, if I were playing a 2,000 power list, then I would start busting out impulsors. Here's some of my work in progress eliminators. And they're getting ready to be work finished eliminators. Now the problem I'm having here on this program is it's not letting me show you the bolt action army builder for some reason. But my bolt action army, which the one I'm going to play next, I have pretty much all the armies. Within reason, I don't have Romanians yet. I'm trying to stick to the ones that you can get predominantly in plastic because I'm not a huge fan of metal miniatures anymore. I don't think I ever was, but there was a time when that was your only option. So 1943 Eastern Front, and my army is winter. So let's see here. This is a Warlord Games plastic winter German Grenadier. It's good for all time periods. He's got the white cloth helmet cover, and he's moving at the ready with an MG30. I think that's MG38. And he's got a great coat. He's not wearing the snow parka over it, which some of the miniatures are. But this guy is effectively, once he's based, he's done. I mean, they're super easy to paint, super cheap figures. So right now, oh look, it's showing it now. Well, that's awesome. So as you can see, I'm going with, let me scroll up so I can see we can see the very bottom. Oh, I hate the ads. It's like I actually pay to use this program, and there's still ads. But I'm going with 4 squads of grenadiers. Each squad has a sergeant and 2 men armed with assault rifles. The rest of the squad is armed with rifles. There's 1 LMG, so that could be a MG38 or an MG42. And there's 2 men carrying Panzerfaust single-shot anti-tank rocket launchers. The first lieutenant has an AR, and he has 2, a sergeant and another assistant who also have ARs. These figures are already made primered and ready to be detailed. The Hare Pioneer Squad, or Pioneer Grenadiers, they're a 10-man squad. The sergeant and 4 men have, no, the sergeant and 5 men are armed with sergeant and 4, I was right. The sergeant and 4 men are armed with MP40 SMGs. 1 man's armed with an LMG, and there's a assistant gunner with him. 1 man's armed with a flamethrower, and there's an assistant with him. And then a rifleman to round it out to 10. 2 medium machine gun teams, and that's 3-man teams with MG38s on tripod mounts. They're really great in game. You know, they get a ton of shots. They got great range, especially if you can put them in a position where they have cover. You can really, well, as in reality, you can dominate whole table sides with these things. Even if you never kill anyone, you can keep them pinned down, which is a big part of the game, is pinning people down and just running them off. I've got my heavy mortar team. It does have I did pay the 10 points for a spotter. So they have a dedicated spotter. I've got a sniper team that's 2 men, a spotter and the sniper himself, with a K98 with scope. And then I've got a Martyr 3H, which I have the figure actually sitting around on this desk somewhere, but I can't see it right now. It's basically a Panzer 38T, I think, but I think it's a Panzer 38T that they mounted a Pak 40 in, and it's got, you know, the crew for that. It's not a tank, and because it's open top, if you let the enemy infantry get close to it, they'll just chuck it full of grenades, and that'll be the end of it. But if you keep it back, maybe put it in a wood line somewhere with a little bit of cover or something like that, that Pak 40 is fully capable of taking out any Allied armor that you might, or even Axis armor, because sometimes you might play another German player. So that thing is fully capable of taking out any armor you encounter on the table. And as you can see, you know, it's got quite a few order dice too, if you're playing the bolt action rules where you draw dice to determine who goes in what order. Nowhere near as much as my Soviet army can get, but it's not too bad. You consider these guys are all regulars. They're not elites for the most part, so it's not too bad. When you go with the Soviets and you got a 1250 army list, that's 1250 right there, which is about average. It's the 1500 of 40K, 1250 in bolt action. Soviets, if you take all inexperienced infantry and the fact they get a free infantry squad, you can easily have 20 activations on a Soviet army. Romanians are the same way. If you take the inexperienced Romanian infantry squads, and the Romanians get a free Pak 4038. So you can get a ton of activations. For those that are not familiar with bolt action, unlike 40K where it's I move everything and then you move everything, in bolt action you put an activation die into a bag or a box or whatever for each unit in your army, and then you take turns drawing die, and whoever's die gets pulled out, they get to activate a unit. And as you kill enemy units, you take their die, and that die becomes like a victory point, in addition to objectives or whatever mission objective points that there are. In a lot of ways, and this is of course my opinion, the bolt action method is much superior to the 40K method of turns. I go, you go. I've never been a huge fan of it. It allows certain armies to alpha strike other armies off the table, which is no fun. If you're the guy doing it, if you're the guy who set up an IG army full of battle cannons and basilisks and manticores and whatever, and you win that first turn and you alpha strike 3/4 of the opposing army right off the table, I guess that's fun for you, but it's not fun for the other guy. So I'm not a fan of that. And bolt action kind of tries to make that not be a thing. However, there's nothing preventing somebody from just pulling the same team's dice over and over again, too. The only benefit of that is if you survive that onslaught, then you'll get to move all your units that survive. The other option is Chain of Command, which I'm a huge fan of. It's a World War II game, but it's actually you could use it for anything like that. And how Chain of Command works is depending on the veterancy of your army, you roll a number of dice sixes, and then those dice sixes, depending on what, say a standard regular army gets 4 dice sixes. So during a phase, you roll your dice sixes, and ones allow you to move a weapon team. So, like a weapon team would be something like Eradicators, or for Imperial Guard, it might be a heavy weapon team. So on a 1, you can move a weapon team. On a 2, you can move a section or squad. On a 3, you can activate a lesser commander. So in World War II terms, a lieutenant. And the thing is when you activate a lieutenant, the lieutenant has special abilities that can allow him to activate a squad or a section. And then on a 4, you can activate a higher ranked lieutenant or a vehicle. On a 5, you add 1 to your command pool, which I won't get into right here, but it's a good thing. On a 6, you add 1 to the command pool, and you get initiative on the next phase, unless your opponent rolls more 6s on his command phase. Then the other benefit is you can actually split dice or combine dice. So if you roll your 4 dice and you roll 4 1s on your phase, you can combine those 4 1s to activate a vehicle, or you can use one of those 1s to activate a weapons team, say a machine gun team or a mortar team or something, and then use the 3 to activate a lieutenant who will activate and take a squad with him. So I'm sure I made it sound 100% more complicated than it is, but it's not that complicated once you run through it a few times. And the deployment in that game is so good. You have a scouting phase where each player takes a number of counters, 3, and they all start stacked up on your table edge, and you move your counters, and the only rule is your counters can't be more than 12 inches from another counter. So you take turn moving your counters until they get within 12 inches of an enemy counter, at which point both counters are locked and can no longer move. Once all 3 counters on both sides have been locked down, where those counters are can become your deployment zones. Troops don't start on the table. When you activate a unit, you move it in from a deployment zone. So that means you could literally move troops in within 12 inches of the enemy. That might seem like, well, vehicles always have to enter from a road or from a table edge. That is a rule. You can't move your Land Raider just right into the middle of the table. But troops and weapon teams can. In a game like 40K, where you can burn command points for Overwatch actions, it's not really an overpowering thing, you know? Somebody moves their assault troops onto the table 12 inches away from you. First off, they're not going to be able to charge right off of their activation. They're not going to be close enough anyway. And secondly, on your turn, you can either back up and fire at them, or you can stand your ground and overwatch them. So I'm actually kind of interested in playing a game of 40K, but using the command and patrol rules from Chain of Command, just to see how it would work, you know. I honestly think it would be a better game. I think that Games Workshop has stuck with this I go, you go for way too long, and it makes no sense, especially when you think about the first tabletop game I ever played, like seriously played, was Battletech. And even in Battletech, it's kind of an I go, you go, but it's based on initiative, and you take turns alternating which units you move. So it's I go, you go, but I move one mech, you move one mech, I move, you move. When all the mechs have moved, then I fire my mechs, you fire your mechs. However, all fire is considered simultaneous. So it's not like my mech can blow your mech up in the fire phase and your mech gets no recourse. He still gets his fire. And then at the end of the ranged attack phase, units are destroyed or damage takes effect. And then the melee phase happens, and then damage takes effect. And then you deal with, you just take care of cleanup, which is your heat and making pilot checks if necessary, and stuff like that. And then you reset, you re-roll initiative, and you determine the order of play again. That is also a great system. Can you imagine if Warhammer, instead of I move everything, you move everything, your opponent would move like his squad of Chaos Warriors here, and you would be able to react, and you could react to each other's movements back and forth. That, in my opinion, would be a much better system. Why we're on the 9th edition of this game, and Games Workshop has still not pulled their heads out of their duffel bags when it comes to the way initiative works and the turn works, I don't know, because they've made great leaps forward with many other rules, but for some reason they're just bound to this rule, and I don't get it. Anyway, that's a little bit of a rant. I'm only making this video. I might stream longer, but the video I'm only making about 30 minutes or so. It's going to be posted up on my YouTube. Now, the second army I'm currently working on is my Black Legion army. So let's go ahead and we need to clear this. Clear this. Where's the clear button? Yeah, clear list. Black Legion. That's right. Chaos. Space Marines. Space Marines. Abaddon. And I need a second guy in here. Now, if I was being super competitive, it would obviously be a Demon Prince with wings. But I'm not being super competitive. So I will probably go with I'm thinking I'll go with the Master of Possessions, because I have a bunch of those units. I bought 2 boxes of Shadow Spear, so all right. And then, as we know, I need my troops to play a battalion, battalion, and Chaos Marines, obviously. I've got a ton of them. I want to fill them. I go with 10-man squads, and usually I equip them like tac squads, so they're generally speaking going to have missile launchers and flamers. Sometimes I might upgrade to an assault cannon, or I might throw melta-guns in them, but usually I keep them cheap. For elites, I'm not even going to look at elites right now. I'm going to go over here to obliterators. I'm going to grab two beast squads of oblits. All right, that's already 60 points right there. So what else can we do? I don't have that. I don't want to fill that. I don't want to fill that. So fast attack. Let's see. I don't have any of that, honestly. So going into the elites. Got possessed. So let's go ahead and fill a couple units of possessed. They probably suck, but I don't care. So that's 30 points for possessed. What else? I could go with some of the, well, I do have some corners up in Black Legion livery, so let's throw them in there. So that leaves me 20 points. I can take a third choice. I do have a Demon Prince, but I think maybe I'll take a Dark Apostle. Or, ooh, a Sorcerer, though. Yeah, I need a Sorcerer. So there we go. And since I got the Sorcerer, what do we got for fast attack that's good? Warp Talons, yeah. Chaos Storm, yeah. Heavy Assault, let's see. Predator or Vindicator, that would be good. Also got a Forge Fiend, though. All right, so we'll have a Forge Fiend. And nothing in fast attack. Luckily, I'm not required to take anything in fast attack. So now I've got 8 points. And it just so happens Chaos Space Marine, a 10-man Space Marine squad is 8 points. And I can take up to 6, so I'll do that. It'll bulk out the army. Now, competitive? Probably not. But it'll be fun. And that's, in my opinion, that's what's most important. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'll post this on my YouTube channel, and if anybody sees it, well, the ones that see it, they might have opinions about what I should be doing or not doing. This army should be, for fluff games, it should be able to deal with most lists. I mean, I've got my Chaos Marines, which are, just a good solid unit. And if I go dirt cheap with them, missile launchers and flamers, that makes them a good all-around unit, The Possessed, I'm not sure if they're good or not, but I have a bunch of them from the Shao Spear box set. And since I took the Master of the Possessed or whatever, that kind of seems like a good fluff thing. Pretty sure they're a close combat unit. So I'm looking at 4 good close combat, or 4 adequate good close combat units, Khorne Berserkers, 2 Possessed, and a Mauler Fiend. And then for my long-ranged whatever, I've got Obliterators. Obliterators are always a great unit. I've got, the 2-man squads, so yes, Obliterators are a no-brainer, I think, in a Chaos list. So I don't have any Lords of War or anything like that, but I'm thinking this list will be fun to play and easy to build. I mean, it's not that many models, really. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal. What are we looking at here? 68 models, hell, that's a lot more than my Primaris army. But then again, the Primaris army has 2 repulsors. But yeah, Abaddon the Despoiler, I mean, that guy's a must-have in a Black Legion army. So not a whole lot else going on. I'm thinking this would be a pretty good army, though. So, and that's pretty much that. I'm going to end the video as far as the recording here then. So to everybody on YouTube, so